Now we are going to implement toString, and then once we implement toString, all it'll do is we want to go through and we want to make each piece of data a string representation. So we want to have a string of all the integers that happen to currently be in the bag, and that'll allow us to test insert. And then once we can test insert, we can also test resize, right? Because we could insert 4 things, and then when we insert the 5th thing, everything should be copacetic and work well. So how do we do this? Well, first, typically, I like to start by saying, okay, that's what we're going to return, string to return. And actually, you can just write return to return down here at the bottom, okay? So that's going to be returned. Notice, remember that toString, you don't have to call specifically. You can also just put a bag into system.out.println, and this will be invoked. Okay, so toString is important because it gives you a human readable representation of your class object. Okay, in this case, an array bag object. All right, so what are the things we need to do? Well, we need to cycle through the array. All right, the array is bag array, right? And that has all the contents in it. And we go from 0. Well, some of you are thinking we go from 0 to bag array.length. That's not the case. Think about why. It's partially filled, right? So some of the stuff in here is not good data, right? It hasn't been written to yet. The only stuff that's been written to is up to count, okay? So we want to go for, think about that, right? So if I've inserted 2 things, right, then 2, if I go to the length, these 2 things are trash, right? So we only want to go to count for I equals 0, I is less than count, right? And we've been adding to count every time we insert into this, right? And then we can go I equals I plus 1, all right? And we can say to return equals to return plus, and we'll do a space, okay, plus, and then we can say integer.toString, and there was a little code above that shows you how to that this works, right? And you could try it out, but this is one way to convert an integer to a string. And then we can put I in there, okay? And hopefully that'll go through. I'm sorry, not I. That was wrong. Did you catch it? Bag array of I. Okay. And that'll go through, and it'll go through the 0th index of bag array, right? And then it'll take the integer from there and convert it to a string and put it into return, and then the 1st index and the 2nd index and the 3rd index. One thing kind of annoying about this is it will put a space at the beginning. So if you want to put the space at the end, you can go plus the space over here. And that should put the space at the end. So that might be something you want to do.